The 34-year-old was shot in southwest Houston by her fiancé as horrified witnesses looked on. That according to police. Now her family says they have a message for others. Tiffany Justice, he is live near Hollyview Drive with details. Tiffany.
34-year-old Dominique Jefferson, a mother of three, was gunned down by her fiancé, who is now facing murder charges. We did speak to her family today, and they say a big component into her death was domestic violence.
This is much bigger than my sister. This is about domestic violence.
11:50 Friday night, gunshots rung out at this apartment complex off of Hollyview Drive in southwest Houston. Left dead, 34-year-old Dominique Jefferson, her mother able to track down who witnesses say pulled the trigger.
And I say, well, where were you? Where are you now? Why did you leave the scene?
Houston police have in custody Dominique's fiancé, 39 years old Kendrick Atkins, as a person of interest.
He was very polite, very nice, but I guess I was wrong.
Dominique's mother saying she thought her daughter had met the man of her dreams.
She didn't deserve this. She didn't deserve it. He took my baby. This is my baby daughter. I'm trying to process this, but it's hard.
Not only did a mother lose her daughter, three children had their mother ripped from their lives. Dominique's daughter, Shania Hunter, grieving with her family.
They wouldn't let us see her, none of that. But then the first thing came to mind was her daughter, her two sons. This is her daughter, Shariah.
Dominique's mother telling us she wants her daughter to be remembered as a loving and hardworking person.
Her logo was Hustle Life. Nobody deserves to die like that.
The family hoping that her death can be a message for others who may be in a violent and harmful relationship.
My sister's not gonna die in vain. If it ain't right, if it don't feel right, it ain't right.
Now, Atkins has a $900,000 bond and is expected to be in court for his first appearance come Monday, January 6th. Reporting live in Northwest Houston, Tiffany Justice, Fox.
She said yes in front of family, friends, and the world. A New Year's proposal, full of hope and second chances. Just 3 days later, she lay dying in a parking lot. Shot in the chest by the same man who placed a ring on her finger. Dominique Jefferson believed in love, enough to give it another shot. But what happens when love turns into fear? When promises turn into threats? This is the story of a woman who was full of life, full of dreams, and the man who shattered all of it with a single pull of the trigger. Pause. How does a celebration end in a tragedy? And what warning signs were there, if any, before it was too late? Dominique Jefferson was 33. A mother, a sister, a friend. To many, she was the kind of person who made you feel seen, the one you could count on no matter what. People called her Dom. Her laugh was loud, her energy warm. She was the type to put others first, even when it cost her. She worked hard, but her dreams didn't stop at her day job. She often spoke about opening her own salon, maybe even writing a book. She had ambition, not just for herself, but for her child's future. Those closest to her said she was always moving, always working, helping, planning, giving. She showed up when it mattered. She believed in love. And when Kendrick Atkins proposed to her on New Year's Eve, she said yes in front of her entire family. It was broadcast on Facebook Live.
Received a proposal and a ring. Her mother watched the video, was happy for her daughter.
A moment of joy, a fresh start. Her sister later said,
But I guess I was wrong.
Dominique's mother saying she thought her daughter had met the man of her dreams.
She didn't deserve this.
We all thought this was it, that she had finally found her person. But no one imagined what would happen just 72 hours later. What changed in those 3 days? What was hidden beneath the surface? If Dominic's story has already moved you, take a second to like this video, drop a comment below, and subscribe. These stories need to be told. Kendrick Atkins was 39. He came across as polite, respectful, even soft-spoken. That's the version most people saw. Dominic met him just 3 months before her death. It was quick, but sometimes when you're looking for something real, you ignore how fast it's moving. To Dominic, Kendrick seemed like someone who wanted to build a life. He proposed on New Year's Eve and her family celebrated. Her sister streamed the proposal live on Facebook. Everyone clapped, everyone smiled. But Kendrick had secrets. His past was not just troubled, it was violent. He had been convicted of aggravated assault in 2008. In 2015, he was arrested again, this time for being a felon in possession of a weapon and for drugs. By the time he met Dominic, he was out on parole. There were signs something wasn't right. A witness later told investigators, "They argued all the time. The day before the shooting, she smashed his phone during a fight." Another witness said Kendrick was known to carry a gun and had a temper. Still, Dominic stayed. Maybe she hoped things would calm down. Maybe she thought love could fix it. Or maybe she just didn't see how dangerous it was becoming. She never filed a report, no restraining order, no cry for help. But that doesn't mean there wasn't fear. Northwest Houston, a sprawling part of one of America's busiest cities. Millions of people live and work here every day. But even in a city this large, what happens behind closed doors often goes unnoticed. Dominic lived on the 5,500 block of Holly View Drive, a quiet apartment complex not far from local shops and schools. It looked like any other neighborhood. But on January 3rd, 2020, that quiet was shattered.
Ended 4 days later, early Saturday morning. According to police, Jefferson and her fiancé, 39-year-old Kendrick Atkins, had an argument as she stood in the apartment parking lot. It continued. He's now charged with shooting her to death.
Just 2 days earlier, Kendrick had proposed. Now the engagement was over. It started with a message, something Kendrick received on social media. Dominic saw it, questioned it, and by the end of the conversation, she told him it was done. Later that night, Dominic and a friend were getting ready to leave. Her car wouldn't start. They stepped outside to check the engine. Kendrick followed. He offered to help fix it. She didn't want him near the car. She shouted for him to back away, to leave her alone. That argument was different. There was tension in the air. Words turned sharp. His presence unwanted. A witness told police, "She kept yelling at him to leave the car alone. She didn't want his help. She just wanted space." As the shouting continued, Kendrick stood just a few feet away. That's when he reached into his pocket and pulled out a gun. This wasn't just another fight. This was a moment where everything changed. It was just before midnight, January 3rd, 2020. The parking lot outside the apartment complex was dimly lit, quiet, except for the sound of voices rising. Dominic was there with a friend. The car still wouldn't start. Kendrick had followed them outside again. Witnesses say the argument got louder. Dominic yelled at him to stay away from her car. Her voice was sharp, fed up, tired. She didn't want his help. She wanted him gone. A witness recalled her saying, "Don't touch my car." And then, just moments later, words no one would forget. "Go ahead, shoot me." No one knows if she meant it. But Kendrick didn't hesitate. From his front pocket, he pulled out a handgun. He stood just feet away and fired. The bullet struck Dominic in the chest. She collapsed where she stood. A man who lived nearby heard the gunshot. He ran toward the sound, jumping a fence to help. But Kendrick was still there. The man shouted to a witness, asking what happened. That's when Kendrick turned, pointed the gun, and fired again, this time at the Good Samaritan. The man dropped to the ground, landing in a patch of bushes. He stayed perfectly still, pretending to be dead. It's the only reason he's alive today. Kendrick didn't stick around. He took Dominic's phone and fled into the night. No goodbye, no remorse, just silence. Dominic Jefferson was pronounced dead at the scene.
The mother of 3 was shot and killed by her fiancé outside their Northwest Houston apartment yesterday. Fox 26's Natalie He is in the studio tonight with us with how the victim is being remembered. Natalie.
Hi there, Tom. Well, Dominic Jefferson is being remembered as a kind and giving person who was always willing to help those in need. Tonight, her loved ones gathered at her mother's apartment complex in Southwest Houston for a vigil. It's actually the same complex where 4-year-old Malia Davis was honored last June. And Dominic's family tells me it's too much grief to handle. Family and friends dressed in shades of purple Sunday and released balloons into the sky, honoring the life and legacy of 34-year-old Dominic Jefferson. Happy birthday! The crowd sang happy birthday to Dominic's mother, Tina Hunter, who says she's still processing how her daughter's fiancé could do something like this. On New Year's Eve, 39-year-old Kendrick Akins proposed to Dominic on Facebook Live.
He had a shirt on that said, "Dominique, will you marry me," on his shirt. And he gave her the ring, kneeled down on his knees and gave her the ring. And then 3 days later, he turned around and killed my daughter.
Tina says the two had been dating less than 4 months when they got engaged. But Tina says she was never suspicious of him.
He promised me he was going to take care of my daughter. He was going to cherish my daughter. He was going to love her. He was going to be there for her, and he lied. He lied. He killed my daughter. He don't deserve a bond. He don't deserve anything. He don't deserve to get out of jail. He don't deserve anything. He deserved to rot in jail.
Investigators say the couple was arguing just before midnight on Friday when Kendrick shot the mother of 3 outside their Northwest Houston apartment on Hollyview Drive. Dominic's sister met Kendrick less than 2 weeks ago.
I didn't know I was shaking the hands of a man who was 6 days down the line, killed my sister. He appeared to be normal, but that is not normal at all. He's a monster. I'm devastated because he could have walked away. He could have let her walk away. He took my sister. Her 3 children will suffer. We're suffering.
Once again, Dominic leaves behind 3 children of 4, 6, and 11-year-old. Her fiancé, 39-year-old Kendrick Akins, was arrested Saturday and is now being charged with her murder. He is expected to appear in court tomorrow morning at 9 a.m.
She was 33 years old. A mother, a daughter, a sister, gone in seconds. The 911 calls came in just after midnight. Officers arrived to find Dominic Jefferson lying in the parking lot, unresponsive, shot in the chest. She was pronounced dead at the scene. Kendrick Akins was nowhere to be found. At first, he was listed as a person of interest, but that changed quickly. Witnesses stepped forward. Her friend who had been there, the Good Samaritan who barely survived. Their stories matched. They all pointed to the same man. The investigators listened closely. One witness said, "He came back after the shooting. He wasn't done. He shot at the man who tried to help." Another told police Akins had a history, that he often carried a weapon, and the couple fought regularly. The picture was getting clearer. Police started to dig deeper into Kendrick's background. What they found was troubling. He had a violent record going back over a decade, aggravated assault, drug possession, felon in possession of a weapon. He had been to prison. He was on parole. And now he had vanished. But just hours later, Kendrick walked into a Houston police station. No statement, no apology, no emotion. He was arrested and charged with murder and aggravated assault. During a court hearing, something disturbing came out. He had once told someone that he placed a loaded shotgun to a woman's head while she was asleep, and pulled the trigger. The gun didn't fire. Now that history had caught up with him. This time, it wasn't a close call. It was fatal. It wasn't just about what he did that night. It was about who he had always been, and how it went ignored until it was too late. If this case reminds you of someone who's been hurt in silence, don't wait. Speak up. And if you believe Kendrick's actions should have been stopped long ago, Tell us your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, and subscribe to help bring more awareness to these stories. The trial of Kendrick Akins didn't take long to shake the courtroom. He was charged with murder and aggravated assault, one for killing Dominic Jefferson, the other for shooting at a man who tried to save her. At first, his bail was set at $150,000, but when prosecutors laid out his history, a string of violent crimes, time in prison, parole violations, the court raised it to nearly $1 million.
Death.
Pointed it at the complainant's chest, fired the handgun once, striking the complainant in the chest.
And accused of shooting at a witness who tried to intervene. Akins later turned himself in to police.
We all gonna miss her.
The judge agreed. This man was a danger. When the trial began, the truth was laid out for the jury. Witnesses testified. Police described the scene. The prosecutor revealed past charges, including that chilling story of Akins putting a shotgun to a woman's head while she slept and pulling the trigger. The jury listened. The facts were clear. On October 21, 2023, Kendrick Akins was found guilty of murder. As the verdict was read, Akins collapsed. Right there in the courtroom, a seizure brought on by the shock of being held accountable. But the trial wasn't over. Days later, the same jury returned to decide his punishment. They sentenced him to life in prison. And because of his criminal past, he was officially labeled a habitual offender. That meant no chance of early release, no parole. He would never walk free again. For Dominic's family, it was justice, but not peace. Her sister said, "My sister..."
Grieving with her family.
They wouldn't let us see her, none of that. But then the first thing came to mind was her daughter, her two sons. This is her daughter, Shariah.
Dominic's mother telling us she wants her daughter to be remembered as a loving and hardworking person.
Her logo was Hustle Life.
Nobody deserves to die like that.
The family hoping that her death can be a message for others who may be in a violent and harmful relationship.
My sister's not gonna die in vain. If it ain't right, if it don't feel right, it ain't right.
Sister is not going to die in vain. This has to mean something. On social media, her name trended locally. Her story was shared across platforms, used in conversations about domestic violence, and how easy it is for red flags to be missed or ignored. Her mother said, "We thought she met the man of her dreams. We didn't know it would end like this." Justice was served in court, but the pain, that stays with the family. Dominic Jefferson's life was full of potential, and now her story stands as a warning and a reminder. What if someone had looked closer? What if the warning signs weren't brushed aside? Kendrick Akins had a long, violent past. So why was he walking free and armed while on parole? Why wasn't he being monitored more closely? How did a man with that kind of record get another chance, while Dominic Jefferson ran out of time? She was a mother, a sister, a woman who believed in love, in second chances. But the system wasn't built to protect her. Her engagement was public, her final moments sudden, and yet the signs were there all along. How many more stories will end like this before something changes? Should emotional pleas from families impact how bail is set? Could more education about domestic abuse have made a difference? And how many others, right now, are staying silent, believing it won't happen to them? Do you think justice was truly served in this case? Have you ever ignored red flags in someone close to you, thinking it would get better? How can we do more to protect families from predators hiding in plain sight? Dominic Jefferson's story is heartbreaking, but it's also a warning. If this case made you stop and think, drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk about it. Like this video if this story shook you. And subscribe for more real-life crime stories that need to be heard. Her voice may be gone, but together we can make sure her story isn't.